And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Hello and welcome to Guerilla Roundup for day 4 of the final Ashes test from the SCG. My apologies for not doing one yesterday. We didn't arrange it in time. But we're back today in full swing, and I'm really pleased to say that Arnav is with me once again. Welcome, Arnav.
Hiya, hiya, Jess.
Maybe you can start off by just very quickly summarizing where the day started and how it ended.
Yeah, the day started with Australia coming out to bat with a healthy lead building and a few wickets in hand, with Steve Smith still out there in the middle and Bo Webster joining him, playing a really handy innings. I thought that was the knock of the day before obviously we saw Bethel later on. But in the first innings, they did well to extend their lead to almost 200 runs and put pressure back on the English batters. Um, Yeah, it took some time before the tail was cleaned up, to be fair, by the English bowlers. And then when the English batters came out, we thought that you would finally see them put up another good partnership. Like last time, they put up 50 runs together, and it was not to be. It's so frustrating to see that both of them don't click at the same time. It's one or the other. Like we saw
Mm,
Crawley
mm.
put up the 84, and then today Duckett got off to a half start, but then still struggled.
Yeah.
And the player of the day came in one down for England, in my opinion, Jacob Bethel. Um, really composed innings. I love the fact that he took his time in the crease and just did you see like
Yeah,
from the
we'll come
beginning?
back to go around through all
Yeah.
of that actually. But just get
Mhm.
you to summarize the final score and where the game actually stands at this stage.
So yeah, England are 302 for 8 at the end of day's play, and they lead Australia by 119 runs. Uh, it looks like obviously it doesn't look like a defendable score at this point, but if the batters stick out and obviously put up 50 or maybe at least you would think get it up to at least 200 to make it even slightly competitive,
Yeah.
that would be great for England. Uh,
So
we saw Bethel ex yeah.
we'll go back to the beginning of the day and Australia at the end of Australia's innings. They added 49 for the last 3 wickets this morning, and that was mostly down to Webster and Smith. Smith got himself out relatively quickly, didn't he? He
Just a few overs in and then he
Yeah,
got out to Georgetown.
yeah. And he wasn't looking as comfortable, but Webster ended up on 71, not out from 87 deliveries. He actually looked really comfortable, didn't he?
Yeah, Webster was a surprise, to be fair. When he came out yesterday, you wouldn't think that he would put up more than probably 20, 25 odd runs, but then he stayed and he almost got to his 50 yesterday, and then it happened this morning. Um, what I really liked about him is that even though he didn't score too many boundaries, he kept rotating the strike with singles and
Yes.
doubles, and that really helped the scoring rate at that point of the game, and it it created the difference between a 120 run lead to 180 run lead.
Yeah, well,
So
he and Smith
it
put
was
on
a crucial innings.
107 for the eighth wicket, didn't they? And even with
Yeah,
Stark, even though Stark only made five, they added another 20 runs before Stark was comprehensively bowled by Tongue. And
yeah,
Scott Boland was out first ball for a duck. So that wrapped up really quickly once Stark had got out. But um, the English bowling, we ended up with Tongue getting three for 97, Cast three for 130. Uh, Stokes, though, tell us what happened with Stokes today.
I think he had I don't know the exact injury that he had, but looked like a lower body strain that he was struggling with in terms of mobility.
We're told it's an abductor injury. And
Yeah,
he pulled up while he was bowling and had to stop immediately in the middle of an over, and Bethel took over the over. Um,
yeah.
what what was interesting though, I thought Jacob Bethel uh, bowled pretty well today. I thought he was much well, and yesterday I thought he was a better bowler than Jacks, frankly, to see that he could get movement on the ball and some drift in it, whereas Jacks doesn't float the ball very much, does he?
I was just going to say that that's one thing I really like about Bethel is he just puts the ball up in the air, just that slight bit to confuse the batsman, whether to come forward, whether to stay on the back foot. And I think that's really important for spin bowlers, especially on a wicket that's not too dry or dusty, but
Yeah.
just doing enough to get some turn on the odd ball.
Yeah, I was impressed, I must say. And what happened in the second innings convinced me that it's a shame for England that Bethel wasn't playing earlier in the series. So we
Yeah,
start the second innings with Crawley and Duckett, and oh dear, Stark's first over. I think this was something like is it the 27th time he's taken a wicket in the first over of an innings? It's quite
28th,
extraordinary.
28th now, I
28
think.
is wow,
Yeah.
just crazy.
He started the series with 24, and then I think it's been 4 times in the series. So it's just incredible. But that was
Yeah.
such a poor leave.
Yeah, well, yeah, you should describe what happened actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so after seeing off the first delivery that he faced, he got a single, and then when he was on strike again to face Stark, Stark bowled a good length, which I think it was Crawley seemed like he was going to go on the back foot and just tap it back, but then he seemed to like just lift his bat at the last moment and let the ball hit his pads, which probably made it worse for him. But then the replay showed that the impact was in the line of the stumps, and it wouldn't matter since there was no shot off it.
Yes, and it was umpire's call on hitting, but it was just wasn't a good shot. Good look. To be out leaving the ball is always a really good sign that you're not in good form at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. And
But then
yeah,
Bethel
the
came in and
on-field decision was out, wasn't it, for
yes,
that
it
one as
was.
well? So
Yeah.
the umpire went up really quickly, which was kind of surprising to me because it looked a bit high when you look at it in the replays. So
Yes.
yeah,
Well, there were a couple of decisions today that went against England, which were both umpires' call, which was unfortunate for them. But until the second half of the day, they had had no luck at all. Um, and it's fair to say, I think what is it now? 17 catches dropped by England is not so much luck, but umpires' calls going against them and uh, possibly questionable snicko things have not helped them. So then we saw
Mhm.
Duckett and Bethel together, and they put on 81 for the second wicket, and were looking pretty good for a while, weren't they?
Yeah, they looked good for a while, and well, again, it was a good bowling change from Steve Smith. To be fair, Michael Neser came into the attack and got the wicket. Um, but again, it was one of those deliveries where Duckett probably should have definitely should have done better. Trying to work the ball towards third man for a single and just playing it onto his stumps. So that was an unfortunate end to his innings after getting off to a good start and almost getting to half century. He made 42.
Yeah, he had a
Uh,
life though, of course, because he was dropped by Green in the gully or the second slip, really.
or he tried to steal the catch off Steve Smith's hand, I
Yes,
think.
yeah, I think
It
that's
was it was
correct.
comfortably going to Steve Smith at chest height. You can just
Yeah,
see that Green just comes in front of Steve Smith and takes the ball away, and obviously it hits the base of his palm and bounces out, and obviously that's a disappointing thing.
yeah.
And you could see Steve Smith just, holding his hands up, questioning,
Well,
what
Green
what
would have
was he
been most
thinking?
relieved that it didn't cost Australia very much, I must say. Uh,
Yeah.
and then we had Bethel and Root together. Now, I found this really interesting. Although Root was in for 37 deliveries, he made just 6 runs, and he
Mhm.
looked extraordinarily uncomfortable, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he settled at all. Like he couldn't judge the length of the ball. Like if the ball's on a good length, it was still catching flight and you know coming up as a short ball. So you could see him trying to work the ball into the gaps, but wasn't very successful. And then obviously caught in on the crease for LBW by Scott Boland. It was a good ball.
It was a very good ball. And then Harry Brook, of course, came in and made 42, which uh, most of the time looked much like the sensible Harry Brook. I mean, there were a few, what would I call them, fairly odd-looking shots he made when Bethel was in his 90s, but he was eventually out LBW to Webster. Uh, very unlucky in a way. Just
Yeah.
just clipped it on in line with the off stump. It was given not out, but it just was hitting in line and just hitting the stumps, not quite umpire's call in either case. Um,
Yep.
so
I think
yeah,
Australian fans and even Steve Smith would have Alex Carey to thank for that because he was the most persistent out of all the English or all the Australian fielders. He really urged Steve Smith to take that review, and then it resulted in the wicket. Webster looked confused. He immediately signaled that it seemed like it's going above the stumps, and
yeah.
yeah.
It was a good. Actually, Smith has done pretty well with his reviews in this match mostly. Um, Yeah, I mean, I thought from an England point of view, there was certainly a strong semblance of hope starting to grow with Bethel and Brook together because they put on just over 100 together, and by that stage
And at a good rate, they were scoring at a good rate as well.
yeah, and England were by that stage about 30 runs ahead, and with 3 wickets, it was 7 wickets in hand, it was starting to look good. But straight after Brook was out, much to a lot of people's surprise, Will Jacks came in before Jamie Smith. I think you should
Yeah.
describe this shot because it could have been Smith.
To be fair, um, I think it was Brett Lee on comms who said that Jacks put the ball in the same area in the first innings, and this Australian side doesn't miss any of these kind of things. So you could see immediately on the second ball, it was slightly tossed up by Webster, inviting Jacks into the shot, and he tried to heave one over into the long on area, and it was comfortably. I mean, not comfortably.
It
Green
was
did really well to
it
get
was
to
a
the
great
ball and
catch
dive
actually,
forward.
yeah.
It was a great catch. He made
But
it look easy. That's to his credit.
the groans of all English supporters were just massive. To lose 2 wickets in 3 balls at that stage of the game was just so gutting for them, I think.
And
Was
to a bowler who's bowling medium pace and off spin in the same game.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Um, and then, of course, we'll come back to talk some more about Jacob Bethel because at this stage he'd just reached 100.
Mhm.
But then Jamie Smith came in and was batting, I thought, quite well with him, much better than he had in the first innings, certainly at the end. And he made 26 off 41 deliveries when there was a complete fuck up, wasn't there?
I think something about breaks that really breaks his concentration. You could see yesterday as well when he lost his wicket. It was just after the break as well, and just a mix up in today's run out. But it was a really good awareness from Weatherall to pick the right end and not panic and throw it to the wicketkeeper. Instead, wait and throw it to the non-striker. And Labuschagne was at the stumps, and it was a good run out by Australia.
Yeah, it was a beautiful throw from, must have been from 35 meters and just right next to the bails. There was some footage on Channel 7 this morning, just emphasizing the intensity of the fielding drills that the Australians do. They were showing Josh English practicing catching balls on the boundary. And Ricky Ponting was making the point that over and over and over they do those drills. And it's including throwing at the stumps. And he says, although he's seen England do it, they just don't do it with any of the intensity, any of the rigor that the Australians do. And it really shows. The fielding difference between these two sides has just been extraordinary.
It
And
has, really has,
Labuschagne in
yeah.
particular, I think, I don't particularly like the bloke, and he hasn't done very well with the bat this series, but he's almost been worth his spot just for his fielding and catching.
Yep.
Uh,
What Green tried to do with his catch and the slips, Labuschagne has already done it successfully twice,
yes,
taking
exactly.
a catch off the first slips hand. So yeah,
So once again, with Jamie Smith out, there was another wicket almost immediately thereafter. Ben Stokes came in heavily strapped, limping. He was very uncomfortable with his injury. He was out on his fifth delivery to Webster again. So
yep.
this was Webster's third wicket in a relatively short period of time. Uh, yeah, I'll let you describe that one.
I think the value of Ben's, as you said, he was heavily strapped, so the value of his wicket today probably was slightly lesser for um, in Australia's point of view. They would probably want, obviously, to dismiss Bethel before the end of day's play, which they couldn't. But yeah, Ben Stokes, I don't think came out with the intention of batting for a long time or grinding it out. He didn't look comfortable even in the dressing room. You could see him trying to figure out what he could do and how his body could move. So yeah, the wicket, I mean, it was coming. It probably happened sooner than one would expect, but I don't think he was going to last too long with that kind of discomfort.
Yeah, he played forward to a ball from Webster and got a nick and a very sharp catch at first slip against by Smith was what dismissed him.
Yeah,
So at that stage, England were 267 for seven. And then Cast came in and they added 30 runs fairly brightly. Cast played much as Cast is
few good
expected to play.
boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then he
and
got,
then
yeah,
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 similar sharp catch by Steve Smith in the slips. So
yeah.
yeah,
So that catch actually brought Smith up to one behind Joe Root in terms of the total number of test catches taken. And then we had
top two
Potts
under.
come in, and Potts and Bethel was successful in defending till the end of the play. They put on 5 runs over about 5 overs, but that was all they wanted to do was to see out the night. Um,
Yep.
but let's go back to Jacob Bethel. Talk to us a bit about his innings.
So when he came in, it was obviously it was really early in the innings. I think it was just the second over when he came in to bat.
Mm,
No, the first over, my bad.
yes,
And it was a tough time, obviously, because they were still 180 runs behind, and he did well to pace his innings at the start, not looking to play any fancy shots or try anything, extravagant. Just try to get in, face the initial spells of Stark and Boland, and then take the innings from there. And he did well to navigate that phase and start. You could see him wait to play his shots till probably after facing 50 or 60 odd deliveries is when he started playing square of the wicket and even behind the stumps. And yeah, he did well to navigate the Australian attack and um, also that when he was close to his 100, you could see him stranded on 99 for a round. I
yeah,
think it was 2 or 3 overs, and you could just see the tension boiling over. And yeah, but then obviously he came down the track and hit a really nice boundary to get to his 100, and it was a really nice moment. But what surprised me the most is how composed he looked during his
yes.
celebration. I thought he was going to go berserk because it's first 100 in any
Mm.
kind of long format of cricket. So um, yeah, his dad seemed really happy as well, and his family, entire family seemed really happy as well. So it
Yeah,
was a
you
good
would be,
moment to
wouldn't you?
watch. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I've got to say, what really impressed me about someone so young is that he had that composure through his innings. He was really
yep,
calm. There was no sense of the freneticism that's been a hallmark of a lot of the England batters over this series. No sense
yep,
of super urgency. He had 15 fours. He scored 142 off 232 deliveries, which is a sort of fairly 61 strike rate. That's a good strike rate for a normal test batter, and
yep.
seems to. And he was lovely to watch. He has some beautiful strokes. I was hugely impressed. I really was. I don't recall watching him in his ODI century in New Zealand, but this is a memorable innings, and I think all credit to him for basically coming in a really pinch situation and being the adult in the team to a large extent because uh,
Mhm.
everything going on around him, he didn't seem to be flustered by it in the least.
Yeah, and another moment you mentioned not being flustered. Remind me of that moment of him being hit on the helmet, flush with the bouncer, and
Mm.
just standing up and facing up. And he even went for the run instead of looking at where the ball went. He started running for the byes and then realized that it's gone for a four. But that moment, I think, defined his temperament today because of um, most batters would probably, take their time and not even try to complete the run, but to be mentally strong and to show the Australian bowlers who've been on top for most of the series until now, to show them that I've got some fight in me. We're not going to go down without a fight. And I think he embodied that spirit for England in this innings and this test match so far. So real props
Yes,
to him for that.
absolutely. I think he and Tongue are the two sort of really positive stories for England in this series.
It's just unfortunate that they've come towards the end of the series. You just try
Yeah,
to wonder what would have happened if they would have got a look in the second or the first test.
absolutely. I mean, there is so much about the whole way this series has worked out for England goes right back to a whole lot of fundamental organization and structure of the
Yep.
training facilities, everything like that. Anyhow, we'll no doubt do that in a wrap tomorrow, and everybody will talk about it for about a week, and then we'll go on to the World Cup.
Hmm.
As far as the Australian bowling's concerned, Mitchell Stark, well, he was Mitchell Stark, but he didn't have that cut through. He didn't have a lot of help in the air or off the wicket today, but he took 1 for 61 from 14 overs. Scott Boland, I thought, was very good. He's got 2 for 34 from 19 overs. And, this is a pitch that's relatively easy to score freely on. England's scoring rate is just over 4 and over. Boland's going at 1.78 and over. That
Yeah, I
says
think it's
says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a pitch that suits a bowler like Scott Boland perfectly. A bowler who bowls the hard length and with great consistency as well. And he's not done much of full stuff or even the short stuff, but just pitching the ball into that hard length, into the good length area, and consistently finding the weak spots for batters and trying to put the ball in that area so that they can't score freely. I think he did that really well in this innings.
Yeah.
Um, Bit unlucky to just get 2 wickets, but well, he got the important breakthrough. So,
Yes, and I think he kept the pressure on too, which was good. Uh,
yep,
Nisa got 1 for 55 from 16. He was okay, but he wasn't anything special, I don't think. Um, Green got none for 40 off six and wasn't very impressive, I didn't think. Uh, and then Webster, 3 for 51 from 13. I thought he bowled fairly well. There were a few rubbish balls, but for a part-time, well, not just a part-time spinner, sometimes he bowls part-time quick. But
yeah,
yeah, I thought he did reasonably well. But what really came home to me today was what a ridiculous decision it was by Australia to go in without a specialist spinner. If you'd left Green
yep,
out and put Murphy in, you would have
mm,
lost pretty well nothing through Green, apart from that catch he took. And you'd have had an extra player basically to do the real spinning, because they use Head and Labuschagne. Well, Labuschagne bowled 3 overs of filth, and Head bowled 4 overs of not very good spin. Um, but Webster was actually turning a bit, wasn't he? Giving it a bit of
yeah.
air.
Webster would yeah, he bowled really good. I think he bowled some good lines and lengths, and as just like Boland, he figured out the batsman's weak spots and where they were struggling to score, and kept the ball time and again in those areas. And field setting again by Steve Smith was really nice, I felt, which did not allow England to get off the boundaries really easily.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, really good effort from Webster.
Yes, indeed. So the key question: England are 119 runs ahead. They've got 2 wickets in hand. They'll be hoping to score a few more tomorrow. Bethel's there. Uh, I would hope that he'll just continue to play his game and not be told to go and thrash. Because I know he
Yep.
can score fast in white ball cricket. I think that would be a mistake. I think, given the fact that England have done reasonably well in holding out the Australian attack today, he's better off just to shepherd the other players and just continue to score in the way that he has today. But where do you see? I mean, do you give England any chance from here?
Uh, I think if Bethel's out there, I've got to give them some sort of a chance because he's pulled them into this contest almost single-handedly, you would say. Because if not for his innings, obviously England would be nowhere in this test match. And you could see him try to accelerate towards the end of the day's play. He scored a few boundaries in quick succession. But I think the start of tomorrow would be all about farming the strike for Jacob
Yes.
Bethel. He has to take the initiative and try to face as many balls as possible and try to prevent Potts from being on strike too early in the day. Because if Potts loses a wicket in, say, like the first couple of overs, you could see the innings end even before it starts. And well, Bethel, if he sort of gets to his 150, it probably is another milestone for him mentally. So he could probably think freely about scoring the next few runs. And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, him being on strike as much as possible is key for England in the start of the day's play.
Well, we ran a poll on YouTube today, and just about 50% of our listeners believe that England can't defend successfully if they don't have at least 240. And that's a long way off at the moment.
Yeah. I think
But
I
the
think
other thing about
175 would get them competitive
yeah, it might well
to
do.
some extent.
I mean, I would be very tempted if Head opens the batting, rather than to give him pace, particularly give him a Cass or Potts. I'd be very tempted to open with Bethel if he's up for it, because Head's not fantastic against spin if it's well directed, and he
Yeah.
loves pace on the ball. So it's a gamble worth doing for at least for a few overs, I would think. So it could be
Yeah.
very intriguing tomorrow, and it's really nice to be going into a day 5.
Yeah.
Uh, so what
Yeah.
was
It
your
feels
highlight of
unfamiliar.
today? Yeah,
Um, well, there's been a couple of good ones, but I think it's got to be the it's got to be the 100, I would say, for
yes,
Bethel, because it's being on 99 for so long, and also with so much expectations for that number 3 spot, and so much talk around it throughout the series, before the series, and even after the failures of Ollie Pope. I think coming there and performing this way is something massive for a player
yes,
of his caliber,
yes.
and he's just 22, so that's massive pressure on such young shoulders. So he's handled it really well, and he's definitely player of the day, and he had the moment of the day as well.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Now, I I know we've got another day ahead of us, but I will be doing the roundup with somebody else tomorrow. So I'll ask you one other thing. Who's your nomination for player of the series?
Mitchell Stark by far.
Right.
Yep.
Because our poll came up with Travis ahead of Mitchell Stark with 3 centuries, which is not bad. But I'm with you. I think Stark did the work that broke the
Stark's got
back and
he's
just
got
continued doing it.
2 half centuries himself, hasn't he, as a
Yes,
bowler?
yes,
And with 27 or 28 wickets, so that's pretty impressive.
yes. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Arnav. For enjoyed that,
Yep.
and we look forward to an exciting day tomorrow. Thanks very much, mate.
Yep. Thanks to you as well.
And if you want to support us on Guerilla Cricket, please go to patreon.com/Guerilla Cricket and consider becoming a Patreon in support of us. Thank you all very much. Good night.
There's the bear in there, and Hendo as well. There are jingles they play, and swear words to yell.